So, yeah, I mean, on the Twitter file stuff, I mean, the idea here is simply to come clean on everything that has happened in the past in order to have build public trust for the future. So, I think that's essential. Like, why should people believe Twitter in the future if Twitter does not come clean about the past? That's what it comes down to. So it's just, so I've given Matt Taibbi, and then just recently, just about an hour ago, Barry Weiss, access to all Twitter documents. So it's like unfettered access to anything. And this is not like a North Korean tour guide situation. This is you get to go anywhere you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, however you want. So I'm not like controlling the narrative, or I didn't I was seeing Matt's tweets as he was tweeting them. So I'm like, I was just as eager to see them as everybody else. And I think Matt did a great job. I mean, there are a few cases where I think we should have excluded some email addresses. Sorry, Jack. Jack at Pizza is now, might need a different email address, but so we also need to, not have email addresses in there. And I think we need to post more actual source documents, so then people can draw their own conclusions. But it's just obvious that there's been a lot of controlled information, suppression of information, including things that affected elections, and that just all needs to be, it's kind of like this friggin' Stasi files, like at the point you just want to have the stuff out there. So
Elon, I have a very blunt question for you then. Given the past few days over Yi and what we're talking about, the freedom of expression, and people want to ask hard questions. So we've had one side where we've now seen you freeze his account again, but now you're releasing information that, about the freedom of expression. So how are you going to balance the level to which we speak about the freedom of expression on Twitter?
Yeah, well, I think...
If that makes sense.
Sure. With Kanye, it's obviously a difficult subject, but that was a case where it was like, where that was my decision. But I think it's important that people know, okay, that was my decision. Because at a certain point you have to say, what is incitement to violence? Because that is against the law in the U.S. You can't just have form a club, let's go murder someone club. That's not actually legal. So the question is, what is incitement to violence? And I think, posting swastikas in what is obviously not a, good way, is an incitement to violence. I personally wanted to punch Kanye, so that was definitely inciting me to violence. Anyway, that's not cool.
Just hang on, but you mentioned in a good way.
Well, no, it's just that it could be like an analysis of the Second World War or something. That's a history drama, or whatever.
It's contextual.
Yeah,
right?
It's like okay, let's live a battlefield or something, and that's good. So some sort of war history thing. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Then that would be okay. But
it has to be contextual. I mean, if he's posting it in a way that is trying to rally people to anti-Semitic views, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can also say okay, well, let's look for added context outside of Twitter to say well, was this meant in a friendly way? And it's like, okay, well, no, he's saying that he likes Hitler and other things. And look, at the point at which Alex Jones is like telling Kanye to calm down and please stop. You have to say, okay, Alex Jones is pretty edgy. So Alex Jones is saying Kanye wants Kanye to stop. That's a big deal. So anyway, but I don't want to get into some sort of huge this could easily get derailed into a laborious.
Agreed. Yeah, we should talk more about the file. So you mentioned that you gave it to Barry Weiss, right? So she has full access. Does this mean that we are going to see multiple exposés, not just ones from Matt Taibbi?
Yeah, the point is to just have everything come clean. So the thing is that it's not that people would necessarily agree with everything that Twitter has done in the past or in the future, but they should at least know that it is occurring and there's no shady stuff that is happening that they're unaware of. So that at least if Twitter is explicit about its actions and transparent, you can then appropriately calibrate your interpretation of what you learn on Twitter, as opposed to thinking, Twitter pretending to be unbiased and even-handed. It is not. So there's a way to get everyone to agree with all the actions that Twitter will take. That's impossible. That is a null set. So, but what it is possible to do is to be fully transparent about the actions that are taken. Right.
Elon, oh, you're back.
He's back.
You dropped out for a bit, yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear us, Elon? Or it's not? You're still glitching a bit. Can you hear me?
I'm about to take over.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, carry on.
This turned into a Verizon commercial really quick. I just wanted to ask Elon really quick if there's any way to combine Twitter's efforts with people who have gone, as far as filing constitutional challenges. Is there any way to get them in touch with Matt and combine the efforts there?
Possibly. I'd reach out to Matt. There's... and I mentioned, I've also asked Barry Weiss to, also, I've given her access. I just gave Barry Weiss access to the Twitter files like an hour ago. I think at some point it might make sense to just have them publicly available, so that anyone can look at them.
A quick side question. Sorry, go ahead.
The general thing we're aiming for is, anything bad that Twitter's done in the past that at least it'd be surfaced, so as to instill trust about Twitter in the future. And the thing where I may have blanked out a moment ago is that it is impossible for Twitter to take the set of actions that will satisfy all people, or probably even 90% of people. But what Twitter can do that is unequivocal is be completely transparent about its action and what's what is it doing, what is it not doing, how does the algorithm work, and if an account is suspended, why is it suspended? If an account is deboosted, just showing that it's been deboosted or search banned, and giving a reason for that, so that there's maximum transparency in the system, so that even if you disagree with what's going on Twitter, you at least can calibrate what you learn on Twitter based on what Twitter's doing, not have a situation where Twitter is claiming to be fair and even-handed, and then actually is not being so, at least from your perspective. So,
do you have plans, Elon, to take Twitter public again in the future?
Sorry?
So Tara's asking, by the way, James Wood, I've sent you an invite. Real James Wood, I've sent you an invite. Check your DMs. Tara's asking if you have any plans to take Twitter public again. And my question, I'll give you another question as well. My question is, what type of pressure, if any, have you faced since releasing the files? Did you hear me, Elon? Shit.
It sounds like he is testing the new semi-truck himself.
Can you hear us? Oh, you're back. Yeah, you're back. Go ahead, Elon.
Everyone right now, so I'm on Starlink actually. So we'll see how well Starlink works.
Okay.
It's working. It's working well now. It's working well now.
I moved a couple of people down so we can have a more civil, conversation without too many speakers on stage, because there are a couple of important questions that I want to ask you. The first one is, obviously with your move of full transparency, you are putting the groundworks in place to justify why free speech on Twitter is so important and why you are making the decisions, of, for example, a great amnesty for all users, and, by showing that abuse has happened in the past and that Twitter, before it was under your control, was abusing their power. You're basically setting the stage to say, okay, people should all have their rights, unless they broke the law, restored to be on Twitter. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, that is the intent. Now, to be clear, we're all going to be doing this sort of slowly and deliberately. That this can't be a let's open all the jails simultaneously and have at it, guys. So it's going to be slower than people would like. It's more deliberate. I do have a lot of shit going on right now, so
I can imagine.
I'm trying to do the most that I'm flogging my human brain as hard as possible, most amount of work done. But like this week alone, we had a meeting with Macron, PC for some national security.
Starlink is also failing. Damn it.
Take 2 months instead of 1 month.
2 months instead of 1 month. That's a good timeline.
And also, I got to make sure Twitter is stable from a financial standpoint and is not losing tons of money and goes bankrupt, in which case we'll bet. So there's juggling a lot of things here, to say the least. But I think over time, which not that long of a time, iteratively, we can move Twitter to be a more broadly inclusive in the so like as many people as possible can participate and want to participate. And as trusted and transparent as possible. And the proof will be in the pudding over time. And we're not going to please everyone. Obviously, that's impossible because, if you say, what are the requests of everyone, you have a Venn diagram intersection of 0. But what can be done is maximum transparency. What can be done is making it clear when something has been deboosted or search banned, when your account has been deboosted or search banned, and why. When an account has been suspended, to be clear about why and whether it's temporary or what the path is to restore the account. And just, I think that's something that can be done and should be done, and will massively help with trust in Twitter.
In addition to
now, there's obviously a challenge that Twitter's had over time, and I think this is generally an issue with social media, which is that it is, these are digital technologies that require a lot of software to be written, and they've sort of come out of Silicon Valley, almost all of them in Silicon Valley, with except for Snap is in LA, which is based in California. But effectively, what is happening is an export of the moral framework of San Francisco to Earth. This is kind of a big deal and problematic because previously, San Francisco, which is pretty far left, the influence would be limited to San Francisco, but now it affects the whole world because of the centralization of information with social media companies, and that's, I think, not good. We need to establish something that is fair and takes into account a wide range of views and doesn't have a tilted playing field towards far left San Francisco views.